Good evening, everybody. How are you? My name is Alexis Kirschbaum, and welcome to Junior Information College Planning Night. At this time, we hope to give you as much information as possible. I am live from my home, and I welcome all of you to join me. Right now, at this point, I'm going to introduce you to our wonderful college guidance counselor, Ms. Liliana Leonforte. She is going to be presenting. I hope that everybody's doing well and everybody's safe. And I hope we get a lot of great information from this. As always, any follow-up questions, anything that you need, you can always reach out. The college office email addresses, as well as your guidance counselor's email addresses, are all listed on the Staten Island Tech website. So let's not waste any time, and let me introduce you to Miss Liliana Leonforte.
Hi, Mrs. Kirschbaum. Thank you so much for introducing me. Welcome, everyone. This is a different way of giving you this information. Ms. Kirschbaum and I were talking as far as we were reminiscing about the way we usually do this presentation, which would be in the auditorium with families coming in, and we would get a chance. But as everything else today, we're doing this virtually. So I'd like to begin with the presentation, and the second slide would be, okay, so the college planning, as you could see, is all of these things. It can be intimidating, it could definitely be stressful, it could be daunting, it could be scary, and it definitely can be overwhelming. But fortunately, I think that we have a pretty good handle on this in the college office, and we try to support to the best of our ability our students during this process. So having this evening tonight, we are going to try to give you as much information as possible so that between now and September of next year, which really comes quickly, you will be able to be prepared and not feel all of these things that I just said that could possibly be if the college planning is not done with sufficient amount of time. Next, please. So as I said, you really need to take a breath. And as I've had in the past, I've had a lot of students come in, and I keep telling them to breathe, not only in, but in and out. And I need for you to be able to utilize this time during the school year and the next summer in order to prepare for submitting applications in the fall. Hopefully by September of next year, you will have a list of 10 to 12 schools that you are definitely considering applying to. With that in mind, those type of schools have to be within the range of being safeties, targets, and reaches. We'd like to have a balanced list, and with 10 to 12 schools, that is definitely possible. Next slide, please. So actually, what does a college application consist of? Well, obviously it is the grades, the GPA, and the rigor of the courses that the students have taken throughout the 3 years prior to senior year application. Any standardized test scores, which we'll talk about the situation because of COVID as what has been happening with the colleges, the extracurricular activities that the students have been involved with, the application essay and the supplemental essays that would go with the major college essay, and the teacher's letters of recommendation. Those are the elements that compose the college application, and they are given equal weight. Everyone thinks that it's all about the SATs or the ACTs, and it really is not. It's total accumulation of all these 5 elements. Next, please. So the first thing in your search to finding the colleges that you're going to be applying to is finding the right fit. And in finding the right fit, there are certain criteria that you need to look at. First of all, is the school or the program within the school that you are applying to, is it nationally accredited? That is extremely important because there have been instances a few years ago where there was a medical program, a PA program, that did not have full accreditation. So you need to make sure that any college or any specific program within that college is nationally accredited. It also, you need to see what type of degrees are offered. Is it just an undergraduate degree, or do they have graduate schools or the possibility of also going on to get a PhD in the same university? And also, do they have any combined programs such as a BS MD or a BS with a law degree? That is another way of seeing if that particular college is a good fit for you. The location. We live in New York City, and sometimes it's very difficult for us to acclimate to something outside of what the environment that we have grown accustomed to living in. But at other times, there are students that say, I really want to try something totally different. So the location of the college, whether it's in a suburban setting, in an urban setting, or even in a rural setting, should come into play. And that should make you stop and think, will I be okay being that far away from home? And if that environment, if you're going from an urban setting to a suburban or rural setting, quite a distance away from home. So the location is extremely important. The size of the student body and the class sizes. Are you comfortable being in a large university where there are well, at this point, it's different as far as lecture halls are concerned, but the size of the student body and the class sizes, the types of admission applications that they accept. Do they offer early decision? Are they a restrictive early action school? Do they have early action? Or do they just have regular or rolling application deadlines? That's something that you need to consider, because you will then decide if you are going to do anything early. And what are the statistics as far as what the average test scores are for admitted students? Do you fall within that range? Is that school for you a target? Is that school for you a safety? Is it a reach school? So you need to figure out where you would fit in depending on the college that you're looking at with the test scores of the student body. Next, please. The cost of attendance, which I'm sure is extremely important for parents. When they say cost of attendance, it's not just tuition. It's tuition if you're boarding, it's room and board and fees and books. So that's the whole cost of tuition, cost of attendance, which is going to be brought up in the financial section as far as when you're submitting the FAFSA or the CSS profile. You will have to see which schools what their cost of attendance is. The types of financial aid that institution offers. Are they need-based? Are they need-blind? Do they offer merit-based scholarships? So that's another important issue for you to look at as far as what types of financial aid are offered at those colleges. The faculty's credentials. Who is actually teaching the classes? Are professors teaching the classes, what are their degrees? Or are there graduate assistants who are teaching, giving the lecture, and the professor who is having the class is doing research? So that's important to know the faculty credentials and who is actually teaching the classes. Student organizations, what kind of extracurriculars are there, and what kind of supports are there for the students in order to thrive on that campus? The campus facilities, what do the dorms look like? You can definitely see a difference with schools that have updated their dorm facilities. You would like to see those facilities not just on an open house, but on a tour, or schedule a tour so that you could see it not just when someone is hosting an open house, and the activities that are available on campus. An extremely important part of selecting colleges is what is the graduation and retention rate at that college. The graduation rate of how many graduates do graduate within the 4 years, and the retention rate is how many students come back after their first year. This is very important. It says a lot about the type of college that particular school is. Do they have a high graduation rate? Is their retention rate high, that a lot of students come back, a larger percentage of the students come back after their freshman year? Or is there a lot of transferring after a semester or after a year? So that's a critical portion of your selection. What type of career and graduate placements do they have? Do they have a career development center? Do they have people who would help you in your senior year trying to locate either paid internships or positions? And what about their graduate school placement? How many students from that university go on to different graduate schools? What is that rate? If you're a sports person, what type of division is that school? Is it a Division I, a Division II, or a Division III school? That's important, because you would then have to, as an student athlete, you would have to register with the NCAA, and that I take care of that individually. If students reach out to me and they're thinking of applying to schools that might be a Division I or a Division II school. Next, please. Okay, college fairs, campus visits, and school visits at Tech. Well, normally we would be having a college fair at Tech in the spring for the juniors and juniors only. We've had wonderful fairs in the past. We've had a maximum of about 80 colleges in one evening attend, and the smallest that we did have was approximately about 45, 50 colleges. Unfortunately, that is not going to happen in the foreseeable future as far as this spring is concerned, but there are virtual college fairs, and as the months go by, I will be sending out information when I receive it, when there are virtual college fairs scheduled, so that you can make a connection with the different representatives of the colleges. Campus visits, again, that has been stopped, but there are virtual ones. I actually attended one not too long ago, and it was really good. Unfortunately, you're not going to see the campus itself, but you will get an opportunity to speak to admissions people during a virtual campus visit. And those you could schedule, or you could check their websites in order to see when the visits are scheduled. And the school visits at Tech, this year was the first time that we've done it virtually, and it seemed to have worked out very, very well. Our students sign up through Naviance, and we post when the colleges will be visiting at Tech. This year, what we tried to do, since everyone was on a split schedule, some students were in the building, other students were home, what we did was is that we tried to schedule it after 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and it seemed to have worked out very well. That's an opportunity for to have a one-on-one in a small group. I mean, I've had a small group of 3 or 4 students for a particular college to I've had about 20 students attend a visit. So please, when we get closer to that point, we will let you know how we will be handling these school visits at Tech. Next, please. Okay, the types of applications. You can submit applications in a variety of ways. There is the regular decision, which is usually has a deadline of January 1st. That's the most common. Then there is early action, and early action is usually November 1st. And this is an application that you put in prior to November 1st, and it is a non-binding application, meaning that if you are offered admission, you do not have to accept it at that point, their offer of admission. You will have up until May 1st, which is the universal deadline to submit a response of acceptance to a college. Understand, early action is non-binding. Restrictive early action, on the other hand, it's a combination of an early decision and an early action. Early decision is a binding contract that you make with one school stating that if they offer you admission, you will attend. And had you put in any other applications, you will withdraw those applications. Early decision notifications come out usually about the second week in December till about around December 24th. They will notify students whether they were accepted, denied, or deferred. Restrictive early action, as I said, is a combination of an early action and an early decision, meaning that you may only apply to one school if it is a restrictive early action school. Stanford is a restrictive early action school. Yale is a restrictive early action school. There are several schools that have gone on to become restrictive early action. So you submit your application by November 1st. You may not apply to any other colleges unless it's a public institution. That means, let's say you apply to Stanford and you then also want to apply to Binghamton, or Rutgers. Binghamton and Rutgers are public institutions. You are permitted to apply to them on early action also, but you may not apply to let's say Stanford and Columbia, because Columbia is a private, or NYU, they are private institutions. So basically it is one college that you apply on restrictive early action, and you may apply to public institutions. It is non-binding also. So you need to make a decision when you're making your list of application of colleges, how you will apply. We will have a meeting for you in June where we go through each type of application, such as the Common App, the CUNY application, and we will go over how you are to submit those. Right now, the focus of this evening is, and the message is for you to start researching and becoming aware of all these nuances that are within the college application system. So again, restrictive early action is non-binding, but you can only submit to one school. You may not apply to any other private institutions. My advice to students has been is to check that particular school's restrictive early action policy. And so, as I had said, with the early decision, 3 things can happen: denial, acceptance, and deferral. I will go over this again in June, but a denial, you may not reapply to that school. Deferral, you are then put into the regular applicant pool. And acceptance, of course, so with the acceptance, you must then, because you will be receiving this as I said, by mid-December, you must reply immediately with a non-refundable deposit. With the early decisions and the early actions and the restrictive early action, there is a financial aid piece that has to be addressed. But also, I need for you to self-evaluate if you decide that you want to do an early decision or anything early, action, restricted, or decision. You need to understand that the transcript that goes out with your applications, if you're doing anything early, will be the transcript up until the end of junior year. And we enclose the courses in progress so that the colleges see the rigor of your senior year classes. That's the information they have as far as GPAs are concerned. And should there be, which is so totally different this year, but should there be any SATs that are going to be considered, they need to have been taken by October of senior year, the very latest. Everything needs to be in place extremely early. And as I said, you need to self-evaluate yourself and say, am I a viable early candidate, or am I a stronger regular decision candidate for a particular school? So you will be able to mix and match and do different types of applications. But you must understand that if you do an early decision, it's a binding contract that you are making with that particular school, and it's one school and one school only. Next, please. I think we're having a little bit of a difficulty with the presentation. Okay, as far as the types of applications that are available, there are the school-specific ones, the common application, there is the coalition, and there is the universal application. As far as these applications, the school-specific ones are the ones that do not participate in the Common App or other platforms. As I said, Rutgers, the University of California schools such as UCLA, UC San Diego, Berkeley, they have their own application. We will address this a lot more in our June meeting, but I want you to be aware of the types of applications. The one that's used most readily, and it is accepted by over 800 colleges, is the common application. They do not have there is no differentiation between if a student submits a common application or the particular school-specific application. We highly encourage everyone to submit with the common application because we are an Aviance school and we're able to interface, which makes the submission of all the supporting documents, which will be your transcript, your courses in progress, your teacher's recommendation letters. All that supporting material is much more easy to submit if you do a common application. The coalition, it's relatively new. There's only about 100 and some odd schools that participate. It has been done so that it's supporting students who have much more financial need. So that's a school that's an application that's not as used widely as the common. Again, and mostly everyone is doing the common application. We're getting into the financial aid section of this process, and what I need to say is that there are 3 types of submissions that are expected, which is for consideration for any type of financial aid, and that's the FAFSA, which is a free application for federal student aid, and as it can be submitted as early as the beginning of October. This is very important, especially for those who are applying early decision or doing any early action, but particularly early decision, because this is for need-based federal aid. The CSS profile is from private institutions, and it is through the College Board. And of course, then there will be a fee for each submission. The profile can be found on the College Board's website. That is for institutional and merit-based. And then there's TAP, which is the Tuition Assistance Program. And that's for New York State residents who will be attending a college in New York State, whether it's Binghamton, Cornell, Pace, NYU. You need to submit the TAP application. I've given the websites. We definitely have a financial aid night in September of your senior year, and we go through all this. We have it as early as the second week we're back in school, and so this way, if you are ready to start submitting the application after October 1st for the FAFSA, the CSS profile, and the TAP, you have that information available. Again, we will have a more detailed financial aid information session in September of next year. So what are we looking at as far as the junior year? Well, we definitely have to devise a game plan. And the best thing to do is to start incrementally and work through. I begin having junior interviews probably like the first week in January when we come back from the holiday break. And I meet individually with the students in regards to their college planning. You will be getting an email with a college interview sheet that you will have to fill out. So it really is very important for you to start slowly, to start looking at some of the colleges, and especially if you're thinking of any special programs that you have heard about and you might consider applying. Begin to make that college list and know exactly the requirements that particular colleges are asking for. Again, with COVID, this year has been a total turnaround as far as testing is concerned. Most of the colleges have gone on to test optional. And if a student this year had an SAT or two SATs, which is a rarity with what has happened in the last few months because the SATs have been canceled so many months in a row, the testing has been put off, and colleges have informed us that they are not going to be considering SATs. If a student submits it, it's not going to be an advantage for them. And if a student doesn't have one, it won't be a disadvantage for them. I don't know what's going to happen. I would definitely go with at least taking one SAT between now and the spring, if well, in the spring and prior to October, when I meant now, I meant prior to October of next year. We don't know what the policies of the colleges are going to be. So I just want to make sure that everyone is prepared. So if you do have the option that you can take an SAT or an ACT, if you want to do that, please do so. But understand that testing is still up in the air and a definitive answer. I mean, I know that there are a couple of colleges that said that they will not be considering scores, not only for this application cycle, but for the following application cycle. This still remains to be seen. As soon as I have any information, I will definitely pass it on. But I would have some type of testing in place, if at all possible, for the spring. Really consider how you're going to apply to each college. Are you going to do an early decision to a particular college? Are you going to do a restrictive early action college? Are you going to do one or two early actions? And are you going to do the bulk of your applications as a regular decision candidate? If with the early decision you are deferred, you do not need to do anything. You are automatically put into the regular applicant pool and you're reconsidered at that point. Again, I will go into more detail in the spring as far as the implications of the early decision, the early action, and the other methods of submitting the applications. The testing, again, is still questionable, but if you're applying for scholarships or you're applying to a particular program, just make sure that you meet their requirements. It is crucial that you maintain your academic excellence. I see it a lot that once the applications are in, you start to breathe. But you need to know that once the applications are in, and especially with regular decisions and any deferrals, that mid-year grades need to go out. Mid-year grades are the 7th semester grades, which are the grades you receive in the courses of the first semester of your senior year. That is extremely important if there is a deferral from an early decision, and just the normal evaluation for regular decision. They wait to see what you've done the first semester of your senior year. The College Board has what is known as the College Board Opportunity Scholarships Program. You may begin looking into it in December. It's obviously on the College Board's website. There are certain things that you need to do, such as making a college list. It earns you a certain amount of money. And then if you qualify, you are then put into kind of like a lottery, and you're granted scholarships. But there's more detailed information on the College Board for those opportunity scholarships. I know everyone is very, very interested in how am I going to do the scholarship? How am I going to get scholarships? I need for you to concentrate right now on getting your college list and where you will be applying, because within that research, you will also find out that, let's say a certain school says, if you apply by a certain deadline, you are eligible or you may apply for this scholarship. Case in point, Boston University has the trustee scholarship. Boston University's regular decision is January 1st, but the trustee scholarship is due December 1st. So once you start making your list, you need to also incorporate that information, so you will see when you need to submit for scholarship opportunities. I know it's difficult, but it has been done virtually. You need to be engaged with something during the summer. At this point, I know it's really, really difficult, but even if you do take a course over the summer, that's an engagement of an activity that you are doing, and you are presenting in your resume that you've been active. I know in years past, there have been other activities that you can, or internships that you were able to go. This is the first class that is going to be facing this situation. Begin developing a resume. I know some of you might have one. If you don't, I would start doing a resume, because you will eventually need it, and it does help so much when you're filling out your college applications. As I said, register for any of the virtual college fairs or campus visits that might be coming up. I think it's like the best thing that you can do at this point. Hopefully, maybe things will turn around and campuses will open up. Who knows what's going to happen in the spring. In May, I would definitely reach out to 2 teachers and ask them if they would be willing to write your letter of recommendation. I suggest that you get one from both disciplines, meaning from the humanities and from the sciences. The humanities can be English, social studies, language, theater, and the sciences, obviously, chemistry, physics, maths. I do like to see that, because these teachers will definitely give a different perspective, because of the disciplines that they're in. So please start in May. Don't think that the teachers are going to have the letters ready in June, but they will know. And then also by May, you should have an idea as to whether you are going to be doing anything early. So it's a matter of courtesy, and also to make sure that the teachers have sufficient amount of time, that you let them know that you are considering doing an early to a particular school. And again, have a professional email address dedicated just for college correspondences. We've had instances that students have missed an interview with a college for any number of reasons, and I wouldn't want that to happen. So if you have an email that's dedicated just for college correspondence, that would be phenomenal. I think that if you take this time within the next couple of months to research and start making those lists. I mean, I've spoken with students that said they've started out with 20 colleges, and then once they started researching, they started whittling down the amount of colleges. And there is no set number that is great. It's whatever works for you, but don't overwhelm yourself. I really think that you need to thoughtfully think over your choices. I know that it's very common to look at at the Ivies, and they're wonderful institutions, but is that what is going to be? And don't apply to an Ivy if they don't have the major that you want. So that's crucial. I think thoughtful planning in the next couple of months, and then conversations that I will have with you. I don't know how we're going to, the method I haven't figured out right now, because I'm in the midst of trying to get our seniors applications out. And so I probably, if we are still within this situation, I will definitely be reaching out and making appointments to speak with you over the phone, and we can go over what your planning is. And that should begin sometime the beginning of January. If you have any questions, I ask you to please give me a little bit of latitude, because right now my focus is on the seniors. Just like next year, my focus will be on you. So I want to be able to take care of the seniors at this point. And in the interim, I would like for you to start your research and develop a list, and then we can have a really good conversation together so that we can discuss your planning. So, as I said, college planning can definitely be amazing. It could be pivotal. It's motivating. It's exciting, and definitely memorable. It's something that you will most definitely remember as time goes by. So I thank you very much for this evening and for your time. And if you have any questions, please understand that my response is not as quick right now, but I will definitely respond. We will send this out, this PowerPoint, for you to have as a reference. Hopefully tomorrow we'll be able to get that out to you. And I look forward to working with you at the beginning of the new year. In the interim, I think we will have a lot of work to do. I wish you stay safe and stay healthy. And thank you very much for joining this evening.